So, for a lot of people, Star Wars Rogue One was the most anticipated movie of the year, and I am one of those people. And I am so happy to tell you all that Star Wars Rogue One does not disappoint. Disney has yet again delivered a brilliant movie in the Star Wars series. This is by far and away the best prequel we have ever had in the Star Wars franchise, by a mile. And this movie is great. This is such a different feel than we've had from any of the other Star Wars movies. It feels like Star Wars, but it also feels different in the way that it should feel different, because this isn't an episode. This doesn't have Jedi, this doesn't have the Sith. It has the rebellion and it has the Empire, and it's a story that we know really what happens at the end, because we've seen the originals. And if you haven't, what is wrong with you? But but I love that it still feels tense. It still engages you, even though you know what's going to happen in the future. The plot is basically it's basically that sentence in the crawl for episode 4 where it just says, rebels have taken the plans for the Death Star. This is basically how the rebels got the plans to the Death Star. And I think it's as good as The Force Awakens was. I think from start to finish, The Force Awakens was probably the better movie, even though it did kind of feel like a rehash of A New Hope. This feels different, but it has flaws. Mainly, the first act of the movie is a bit clunky in how you're introduced to the characters. Kind of feels like, okay, this character, I know this character, and this character, and then this character. It just feels like there's not enough room to breathe when introducing the characters. But as the movie goes along, it gets better and better, and you get to know these characters a bit more. Another flaw with the movie is the characters themselves, I don't think, are as fleshed out as episode 7. I don't think any of these characters are going to reach the iconic status that characters like Kylo Ren, Rey, and Finn are going to reach. But they're still really good characters, and you get emotionally invested in them. Especially Felicity Jones as the lead. She kind of came across as possibly an annoying character in the trailer, but thank God they just wrote all of those annoying lines, like the "I have a bell" line that's not in the movie. Thank God. She is actually a likable lead. You also have Diego Luna, he's great. Donnie Yen, badass. And you also have Alan Tudyk, who is awesome. He might just be the best droid we've ever had in a Star Wars film. It feels like he is C-3PO's asshole uncle, who can actually kick ass. Like, I've never seen a droid like this in a Star Wars film. He is so different, but awesome. He's like Bender, but in the Star Wars universe. He is the center of the comedy in this movie, and it never feels forced. It always feels like genuine, and the lines, he's so funny. I'm gushing a little bit. I really like this movie. But the thing I loved about it as well is this is a dark movie. Like, this is a war movie. This feels like a war movie. It puts the war in Star Wars, because this is that in-between period between episode 3 and episode 4. This is literally like 3 hours before episode 4 begins, and the world feels like a world that there's a war going on. Everything is gritty, it's dark. The rebellion, it's not as black and white as it was in the original trilogy, where the rebellion was seen as, these good guys, and the Empire was the bad, and the Empire is still bad here, but the Alliance is more grey. There's more moral greyness there. This film goes so does such a good job in painting the fact that, you know, the Rebel Alliance had to do some shady shit to get ahead. Like, you know, God, they plan assassinations. They try and they go against their own orders. It's like it's very bureaucratic on both sides, and I love that. You know, a great symbol of this is Ben Mendelsohn as Orson Krennic. He's more or less the main villain, and he's a great villain, but his biggest attribute is he's just a pawn basically in the empire, and I think that's what makes him such a great villain because, you know, he's a bureaucrat. So like he thinks he has the power, which I love that aspect of his character. It's like he's such an interesting character in that regard because he's kind of the main villain, but he's kind of not the main villain. And you know, and the CGI in the movie is brilliant. Like there's some stuff in this movie I didn't think you could physically do with CGI. Like I think this could be a turning point with CGI, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you see the movie, you will understand what I mean when I say a turning point in CGI. And for all the flaws I've said about the movie, the third act makes up for every single thing that's wrong with this movie. It might just be the best ending to any Star Wars film ever. Up there with Empire Strikes Back, in my opinion, for maybe the best ending. And it has the best battle scene of any Star Wars film, and I'm not even kidding. The finale of this movie is epic in every way you can imagine. Oh, I cannot wait to watch this again. I really want to watch it again. And when I see it again next week, I will have a spoiler review up for you because I want to see it again, and I want to get a second viewing of it to see if my opinion is different. Maybe, you know, maybe see if there's anything I like more or like less. But overall, this is a great Star Wars movie, just as good as The Force Awakens. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. Disney is on a roll with this franchise.